Phase Zero Spotlight episode recording live right now. I am BD, joined today by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody is right. Welcome to the show. We're very excited because Deadpool and Wolverine, it's after weekend too. It's already the biggest R-rated movie of all time. We're having a good time talking with everybody about it. The streets are saying Marvel is back. And listen, we're very excited because we have a live guest. We're not going to waste any more time doing an intro. Let's just get to it, Jenna. What do you say?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. We have X-23 herself, but don't call her that. She'll correct you and say, my name's Laura. Dafne Keen is live on Phase Zero.
Hello.
Dafne, how are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime.
Listen, we have to start with one thing. Dafne, you lied to me.
I did. I'm sorry. I get paid to lie to you. It's not my fault. I don't want to lie to you.
No, I have to say, I'm honestly impressed with the lies because I had heard quite a few things about this movie. I did not hear about you being in this movie, and I was convinced you weren't in this movie.
Yeah, well,
that's impressive.
There's a reason they hire me to do my job.
All right, but I want to go back to the beginning with you before we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Welcome back to the world. It's awesome to have you. When you started this journey, it was with Logan. So when you think about Laura and the X-23 character, like what are the first memories that come to mind when you were introduced to Laura and the whole Marvel world started to happen for you?
Ooh, my first memory of Laura was when I did my chem read with Hugh. We were put in a hotel, and in front of the hotel there was this like tiny little comic book shop, which I think they might have done like on purpose, but coincidentally they hadn't told me who I was playing. They'd just kind of been like, yeah, a little bit weird, wild Hispanic kid who might be a mutant, but we're not telling you. And I went into the comic book store just for like fun. And the first comic I picked up was an X-23 comic. And I was like, oh my God, wait, this is the character. And then I proceeded to buy every single X-23 comic book in the store and like study them so intensely. And then I really love them. And I like have them not in my shelf here. I was pointing at my shelf here, but they're in Madrid. So that was my first introduction to the character, was the comics, which I'm really happy. Yeah.
As a comic fan, I love that so much. So all of these years later, when did you first find out that you were going to be coming back as Laura?
I found out after a really long day at work. I got a call from my agent while I was in a bathtub. Dropped my phone in the bath. It was a whole thing. And then I actually got my first call from Sean Levy right here, where I'm taking this right now.
Wait, what happens on that call? What did he say?
Well, he was like, oh, welcome to Deadpool. And then I was like, thanks for having me, I guess. And then a lot of very cryptic, like, you'll have a script soon. And I was like, okay, what am I doing? And he was like, I can't tell you. And I was like, okay, great. Yeah, the only thing he said to me was like, you're going to be acting with like Marvel and like just Hollywood, like veterans, like proper like household names. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Cut to. We know.
Man of his word. Man of his word.
Exactly.
And then, so before we even got to see that, did you find out ahead of time that we were going to learn about your role in the movie in a trailer, or did you find out at the same time as all of us? Like, when did you learn about that?
Well, I found out like 12 hours before you guys, which is wild. Surely I should have known before. I got a phone call from Sean, and he was like, we're revealing you tomorrow. And I was like, I thought we were keeping me secret. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't really know what we were doing. Someone had said to me that I was going to go to the premiere, but I was going to have to like pretend to be Hugh's +1. And I was like, that's fun. I've been lying for like a year now, so that's so chill. I'll just be here like for the vibes. And then they were like, and you get to come to the premiere and say you're in it. And I was like, win, great. I'll see you in New York then, I guess. Like,
Was there you had to do the entire Acolyte press junket, which is insane timing because obviously you're keeping it a secret. You're having to lie about it, cover up the fact that you're in the movie. Was there ever a moment in any of the interviews for the Acolyte where you were like, oh, they might be onto it. They might know I'm in there.
Well, yeah, because when I tell you, you weren't the only, you were the one who had like the most interesting like approach to the question, but everyone was asking the question, like to the point where like whenever the interviewers would like leave the room, Manny and Charlie would just like burst into laughter, and they'd be like, what do you do? Like every single interview, every single person who comes in, they're like, so Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'd have to be like, no, I'd love to. And then at one point, if you look at the interviews, we were increasingly finding it harder to lie. So Charlie started to be like, no, I'm in it. Like it just got too much. And then every time Condra was doing it, like in Spain as well, when I was doing press over there, it was just like 2 months of my life of me being like, no, it would have been such an honor to work with Ryan and Sean.
Hey, it was honestly even better work than Andrew Garfield could have ever done. Okay.
Whoa.
It was good stuff.
Don't diss the master like that. The blueprint.
So I imagine when you get, honestly, Andrew did set the bar. He set the bar for
honestly, when you asked me that question, I'm not gonna lie, I was this close to being like, people keep asking me, I'm not the werewolf. And I was like, that's 2 on the nose. I can't do that.
Oh, that would have been it. Everybody would have been like, oh, she's in it. She's so
yeah.
in the movie. Great, yeah.
Also, I noticed in that clip from the question I asked you about, like, what do you think about when people ask you and you can't say anything? That was the first time people started to discover that you're actually British. And people were so caught off guard. They were like, wait, she doesn't have a Spanish accent like in Logan?
Yeah.
I thought that was all the power to your acting, because you fooled them on the accent. You fooled them on not being in the movie. All great work. I imagine when you got that call you just mentioned, that Sean called you, I love to hear about kind of the questions you had, because I imagine, like, how is she coming back? What's she been doing? What questions did you have, and how many of those got answered for you throughout the process?
They all got answered, kind of. Like Sean and Ryan are very intelligent people. They kind of figured it out. I was ready to be like that annoying actor that's like, and what about this? And they're like, oh, we hadn't thought of that. No, they had an answer for everything. I was like, so how long has it been? Am I a variant? What's going on? And they were like, not variant. You went along with the kids for a few years, and then you got zapped, and you've been in the TVA for a few years now. You lost your accent because you were in America for a while, and like Canada and stuff. Like, you've lost your accent. You're a very intelligent kid. You learned English while you were with Logan. Like, you're clever. You've lost your accent. You have no accent. To you are Logan's Laura. And so seeing this person again is, whoa, this is my dad, who I haven't seen in years. And that was kind of, and I had those questions. And then the questions that were just like more acting wise, like, how do we do the fights now? Do you think she would have changed? Is there like, and also I think that, yeah, there was more like characterful stuff. But for timeline wise, they were very clear on like, no, you're Logan's Laura. Like, that's was very important to them. It was very important to them that the scene that she has by the fire with him, where she's like, you saved my life, is because he saved her life in Logan. He sacrificed himself for her.
So kind of going off of that, how do you prep getting into the mindset of having a reunion with a different Logan, like not the Logan that Laura knows and loves?
Well, there's something so kind of wonderfully tragic about, like, she never really got to say that she loved him or that she's grateful to him. And she's kind of getting that opportunity now, but it's not really him. So it's like, it's kind of working with that, the tragedy of like, it's so close yet so far. Like, the closest she's going to get is to tell this man who she's essentially just met, but she knows because it's Logan, how much she cares about him. But she can't say too much because he doesn't know her the way that she knows him. It's just like so heartbreaking and like so genius from them.
How was it going back to work with you? Because I know you guys, I assume you guys have stayed kind of close. It looks like you guys have just the best relationship. He seems like the best human being. But getting to work with Hugh again, I mean, what was, I guess, under the direction of James versus under the direction of Sean, like, did you guys have a totally different experience working together this time, or was it similar?
It was totally different, but it had like, I guess it was like kind of similar to like what Laura and Logan were having, of like, it's the same because we're kind of the same people in essence, but like, also it's been 8 years. My life is completely different. His life is completely different. We're now with different directors, completely different tone of film. Like, but also we got a scene that was very kind of a space that I think Hugh and I were very comfortable going to with each other, because we did a lot of those kinds of like heavy emotional scenes while we were on Logan. So it was kind of terrifying, because I've said this before, but I thought we might have lost it because we hadn't done it in 8 years. But it was weirdly, we just went on set and it just like very naturally happened. And also just Sean is just so brilliant that Sean was like, just knew how to bring it out of us. And I think Sean and Jim are completely different directors in like very interesting ways. And that was also very interesting to like work with each other with a very different energy on set. Even like the vibe on Logan was so much more kind of, even though it's not an indie, but I always say that it felt like an indie, because it was so, the crew felt so small and we were all traveling together. We were all staying in like the same hotels. We weren't spending more than like 3 weeks in a place. Like we were all over the US. Whereas like this was a British crew in Pinewood. Everyone was like, all the crew was like geeking out over like Hugh in the Wolverine suit and like Ryan. And like when Channing came on, they were like, oh my God, finally. Like everyone was so, like when I tell you, every single person was so excited. To get a crew excited, that's crazy. I've never seen that in my life. Everyone was so just happy and honored to be there. People were like trying to take photos with them. They were like, oh my God, the suit looks so good, Hugh. Like everyone was so geeked out. It was like a completely different vibe. Whereas like Logan was like kind of so dark and heavy that all you'd get from the crew was like, they were lovely, but you'd get like, can we get more blood on that? Like that was the vibe. Like the blood vibe was like just much kind of heavier in a way.
So, y'all knew you had something good here. Everybody knew. That's cool.
So kind of talking about that more lighthearted set, you mentioned working with Marvel Legends in a lot of your scenes. What was it like to meet all of those actors for the first time?
They're so nice. I think the casting process for this was just like cast the nicest people in Hollywood, because when I've worked with a lot of people, most of them are not nice. These people, I don't have a single complaint about them. Like they immediately like took such good care of me. Everyone was so like warm and welcoming. And also, like I said, everyone was just as excited as me to be there. I was like, to me, I thought this was like me just being a rookie and being like, I'm just starting out. This is so exciting. And they'd all been doing this for like 30, 40 years. And they were like, oh my God, we're back on set. Like, this is so cool. Have you seen my suit? No, wait, but have you seen mine? And I was like, what's going on? You guys, I thought you guys were going to be cool about this. But my first meeting with them was actually in Ryan's trailer. We did like a read through of everything. And we did a read through, and everyone was so excited. And Ryan was like, if you guys want to just like riff and improv, and everyone was like, okay, yeah. Like it was so exciting. We watched like the first, I think, half an hour of the film, and we were all just like pumped because it looked incredible. Like we watched all of the like paradox stuff, and I'm a massive like Matthew McFadden fan. Like I actually can't. And I was so excited. And we were watching, we were all like laughing out loud in this trailer. And it was really funny because we were all kind of in London and we all really liked each other, but we couldn't like see each other because we were so excited for it to be a secret that we would have to hang out in like Ryan's trailer. We literally couldn't even like hang out anywhere else in case there was like a drone or a pap. Like it was so intense. But then when we were in the studio, it was really lovely.
That's crazy. Who kind of changes the most once they slip into the costume? Who either gets the most excited or is just like, I'm not dropping character until I'm out of the suit?
And I don't think anyone is like that. I think the person who changes the least is Wesley, though. Like Wesley's like Blade off camera as well. You're like, what? Like he's so cool. He's like, I remember in the read through, I was like, hi, nice to meet you. And everyone was like, this is so exciting. And then I turned to us and he's like, yes, exciting. I was like, what's going on there? Like, what do you mean?
That's really cool. I mean, how cool to be a part of that. Did you guys have a name for that set when you like it had like the Hulk's bed? Did you notice that there was like references to Marvel lore everywhere? But also, did you have a name for that set? What'd you guys call that when you're all like teamed up for the first time?
I think it was the cave.
Oh, okay. That
I think
makes
it was
sense.
a lair or something like that. Because obviously you can't. But it's like it has to be a code name because if not, people find it. But no,
Right.
when me and Channing were like trying to spot things, we were like, is that Scarlet Witch? And he'd be like, I think so, yeah. And I'd be like, Hulk's bed? Yeah, okay. did you see that weapon on the wall? I think that's like, it was so, we were trying to find Easter eggs so desperately. And Sean was like, if you ask me, I'll just tell you. And we were like, okay.
We have a massive Scarlet Witch. She's in LA, so it's early there, so she's not on the pod today, but she's a massive Scarlet Witch fan, and she missed that, so she had to go back and see it again. And like those little things, they mean so much to the audience. What's that?
How did you miss her? They start the shot on her.
I don't know, Jamie. Everybody who listens to Phase Zero knows Jamie is like the one who's preaching, don't look at your phone, don't do this. Don't. And she somehow missed a full screen shot of a Scarlet Witch statue.
Like, slow pan from Scarlet Witch. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, wait, but we just talked about some of the actors. Channing Tatum as Gambit, like, I'm about to make a name for myself. He was so funny. As a member of the audience, I couldn't not laugh every single time he speaks.
No,
so I want to hear about working with him, hearing that accent and trying to be serious.
Brandon, I had to tell him that on my shot, he couldn't say his lines. Like, because we kept trying to do it and I kept breaking character because I was doing my like brooding Wolverine vibe. I was like, yeah, let's fucking go. And then he'd be like, I was laying my nuts in my buttery mama. No, shut up. Like, I need to do my job over here. You're making it so hard.
After the premiere in Comic-Con, I took my mom to see the movie. And when he was saying, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this, watching this with her. Oh my God. But he's so good. Even
the like formation when he's like, I'm about to make a name for myself. I was like, no, again, I'm cool, calm and collected. And this guy is just like yapping in my ear. He's right in front of me. And it's like full frontal shot. I was like, you can probably see it somewhere, like dying.
That sequence where you all roll up together and it's the whole squad. It's set in the movie to like a T.I. song, which just gets the hype going. Everybody's like, bring them out. Everybody's hyped. Did you guys have music on set to set the tone for that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we might have had that one actually.
Really?
Yeah. Sean and Ryan were so cool about like, they just had they knew what music they wanted already. So you'd be doing a scene and they'd be like, this was going to be playing, so I'm just going to play it. And you guys can like vibe to it. And we'd be like in the car with like Jen driving with like music blasting. We were like, yeah, what? Like about to pull up.
That's cool.
It was so cool.
So you mentioned having to hide out in Ryan's trailer and like worrying about drone shots and stuff. The only one of your group that had leaked to the media was Jennifer Gardner, like a really, really long time ago, to the point where people were kind of doubting if she was even in the movie. Did that make everyone a little nervous about getting found out? Yeah.
Jen leaked actually my second day on set because I remember talking to Sean, and as we were walking on set, he like got a notification on his phone and he was like, but we were all terrified. We were like, I remember Sean being like, we're really going to try for it not to be revealed, but it probably will. And it didn't.
Wow. That's honestly, I love when the secrets are kept like that. I think it's really cool. Do you, Elektra came out of what, like 2000? Jenna, we just rewatched it too. I forget what year it was, but like X-Men came out 24 years ago. I mean, some of these X-Men movies, Daphne, they're older than you. So I have to ask, have you watched all these? I mean, you were part of Logan, so you maybe already had like homework to do to get ready there.
Of course, did you? Also, I'd watched Elektra, I think years ago with my mum, because my mum's a huge Marvel fan. And I'd watched Elektra years ago and I'd be like, oh, she's so cool. And then I watched it like when I was about to do the movie, when I was finally told who I was doing my scenes with. And my two thoughts were like, I hope she's doing all of her stunts because that's so sick. And then my second thought was like, this woman is so cool and beautiful, it's kind of ridiculous. And then I met her in person, I was like, oh, she's even more beautiful. And she's also just like a dream of a human. Great. I love when people are just like perfect for no reason. Like, it's kind of infuriating how wonderful she is. But also I adore her and she's like, I'd like kill to work with her again. She's like the cutest. But I'd watched all of them. And like, obviously Blade, iconic. Blade, like most of it, like you said, most of these films are actually like older than me. When they were, I think Jen hasn't played Elektra in 20 years. And I was 18 when we shot. So they were all like, this is so crazy. We haven't played it in longer than Daphne's whole life. And I was like, yeah,
wow.
I get
Electra,
it.
January 14th, 2005. I just looked it up.
Yeah. I was born 10 days before that came out.
Wow.
Oh, so you weren't there on opening night. You weren't there watching it, right?
I was probably just getting home from the hospital. I was born on January 4th, 2005. That's
Wow.
actually wild. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Oh, wow. This movie is bringing, I mean, but also I think this is a big reason why so many people are like finding this movie, like it's appealing to so many people because it's generations. We grew up on these. Like I remember when I was like 8 when the first X-Men hit theaters, and now like here we are. It's so cool to see so many people and new generations carrying torch.
And all the little, even like the little cameos for like Cassandra's lair are so cool. Because I didn't get to see all of those until we did like the fight, and I'd be like, wait, Lady Deathfingers? Like what do you mean? She's here?
Wait, you had dope action scenes and right out of the gate too, like right there at the water tower that was turned over is like the first time you really your character got cut loose. But the action scene in this, I mean, with Gambit, Elektra, Laura, and Blade, and Wolverine and Deadpool is awesome. So how did the like action experience compare? Did you got to kind of add a new style to Laura for Deadpool and Wolverine?
Well, we didn't really want to add a new style. We just wanted her to feel a bit more like polished. Like, because as a child, she was just kind of like, ah! And then as a grown-up, we wanted her to be like still that, but like has been around the block now and knows what she's doing. And she has like, especially in like she now has a pose that she finishes with. She's like just clean. She's like cool now. Well, she was always cool.
Proper superhero now.
Exactly. She's like joined the MCU now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
joining with a bit of a low. No, I'm just kidding. Had to quote it.
This is an MCU movie. Is what I'm saying. Do not take anything from what I just said, please.
Oh no, yeah, good call. Because that would have been people in the comment section like, wait a second.
What? No.
The internet will totally take it and run with it, though. One thing I am curious about with that fight scene, whose idea was it to bring back the sunglasses from Logan?
Sean Levy and Ryan's. I was like, that would be really cool, but I never said it because I was like, never gonna happen. And then in my costume fitting, I saw a little case of glasses, and I was like, they probably want me to have sunglasses, but they'll be like cool black ones or something. And I opened it, and it was the pink ones, and I was like, wait, what? I tried them on, and I think they were the original ones because they were like that big on my face. And I was like, Sean, I don't think this is gonna work. Like, and then they just like measured my head and they made bigger ones. Just so cool.
That's cool. Yeah. So another huge part of the movie is Hugh finally getting to wear the classic costume. And it took him 20 years to get to that point. I know Laura's costume in the movie is comic accurate, but are you hoping to eventually get your own like full-fledged super suit at some point, much sooner than Hugh did?
Well, if I even get to play her again, it would be cool, yeah. Also, like Laura has so many cool costumes that would be cool to see, I think, in film.
Deadpool calls your character X-23 in the movie, but you make the distinction. My name's Laura. So why do you think, knowing this character as well as you do, why do you think that's an important distinction for her to point out?
Because she doesn't like Logan's last words to her are don't be what they made you, and what they made her is X-23, and what she is as a person is Laura. So it's important for her to be like, I'm not an experiment and I do not belong to them. I'm my own person and my name is Laura. It's not X-23.
I love that. Everybody who's watching live, welcome to Phase Zero Spotlight with Dafne Keen. We are winding down, so make sure to go back to the beginning because this has been a super fun interview. We've got a couple questions left, so welcome to the show, everybody. But Dafne, I thought for sure that all four of you guys were going to die. I was watching this and I was like, I feel like. No, listen. Okay. I saw that sword go through Blade. I saw you started to get like the mutants outside of Cassandra's lair started to fight back, and I was like, man, this is the ending that they were all talking about. And you all survived, which I was thrilled to see. When you were reading the script, did you start to think at any point, oh, this is going to be the end of the road, or did you have the faith you just called me out for not having?
Well, no, because luckily I knew what scenes I was in. I knew. I was told by Sean that I'd be in a little birthday party at the end, so I was like, oh, chill, yeah, cool. We're just teasing, great.
I'm sure that's a huge relief.
Yeah, I was like, please don't bring me back for this and then kill me. That's so lame. What do you mean?
I'm with you. I'm glad you guys. But I thought Eliath was coming to eat for sure. I'm glad you guys survived. But I mean, we've talked so much about like the Marvel geekiness of it and a lot of the fun stuff we love to talk about at Phase Zero. What I would love to hear about just kind of like the personal experience. Like what does nobody ask you about that's part of the experience that like you don't get to talk enough about, but is really what you're going to remember from working on Deadpool and Wolverine?
Honestly, I genuinely mean it when I say like the people. Like it was so impressive, just apart from them all being just like wonderful human beings, which is so rare to have a room full of really successful Hollywood actors who will usually be like lovely people who are just like caring and generous with their time and just like actually people who like want to interact with you and with the crew. But apart from that, just how incredibly talented everyone was. Like Hugh's amazing, but I already knew that. So I was like, great, okay, back to this. Ryan is completely unbelievable, like even funnier than what you see. What you get to see is like they've had to like delete so many incredible jokes that had us all like creasing on set. Same goes for Channing. Jennifer is just like, they're all just like such incredibly charismatic, talented people. And Wesley just like has the most insane aura. Like it's, anyways. And then you have a director like Sean, who is just like completely unbelievable and kind of, he feels like an orchestra director. Like he's so wonderful at conducting a group and being so, I think, so incredible at making a set somewhere comfortable and fun and light, but still like you're working. Like he's getting things done. He's the most efficient director I've ever worked with, for sure. He's so incredibly flexible in his mind, but also so laser focused with what he wants to achieve. And working with directors like that is also really rare. So I really enjoyed just like watching Sean do his thing.
That's awesome.
So now that you are in the sandbox of the MCU, not the MCU, but the multiverse of the MCU, are there any characters or actors that you would really want to work with?
Well, look, just I met Chris Evans at San Diego Comic Con, and I was like, he's like a vibe. Like I like him. I'd love to work with him. Aiming very low, obviously. Clearly, I went for the most chill one of them all, didn't I?
Yeah. The easiest one, yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know, everybody says it's like an obligatory question we have to ask everybody because everybody wants to know, who do you want to work with, who do you want to cross over with. Everybody always says Spider-Man, so good answer. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, I want to work with Spider-Man.
I get Spider-Man. I'm not exactly going to be complaining, am I? But like,
no, I don't think so. But Chris Evans, how do you not love Chris Evans? And so this is the obligatory question. I know we're not going to get told the truth, but we have to ask. Gambit, Elektra, Blade, Laura all survived. We saw Laura in the final scene of Deadpool and Wolverine. We know the Marvel franchise is headed towards 2 big Avengers movies.
Yeah.
I know you won't say if you're coming back, but do you want to be a part of those movies? Would that be something fun to you?
I would love to come back. Like I've said this before, I would pay them to come back. Like playing Laura has been the biggest honor of my life. And she's such a fun character. And to me, that we've only scratched the surface. She's such a like psychologically complex character. And she's so cool. Like just from like a fan standpoint, like there's so much to do with her fights that you like want to look at. Yeah. And and basically summarizing, I would kill to come back. But
we would be lucky to have more of you as Laura in any of these movies. So thank you so much for hanging with us. Thank you so much for coming back as Laura and congratulations on the success of this movie. It's been so much fun to support and watch the whole journey everybody's going on. And genuinely, it just looks like everybody who worked on this, you guys were such a family. Seems like you had such a good time. And that is so awesome to hear.
It was awesome. you.
All right, everybody. Dafne, thank you for coming on Phase Zero today. Hope to talk to you again soon sometime, but you're an absolute rock star, and keep enjoying the ride.
Thank you, I will.
All right, everybody. That's our show. You're free to close out the browser, and it'll just take you off the show. Thank you, Dafne. That's our show, everybody. Jenna, any last words for today's show?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics. Go read some X-23 and all new Wolverine comics, as Dafne mentioned at the start of the show. This was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yes, thank you to our listeners. This has been an absolutely insane few weeks coming off of Deadpool premiere, where we are putting up insane numbers on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the interviews, success there. Coming off of Comic-Con, where we got to do the press line, Hall H, all that stuff. It's been awesome, and huge thanks to Dafne Keen and her team for getting her on Phase Zero on this fine Monday morning here in the U.S. It's Monday evening over there in the U.K. where she joined us from. Means the world that we get to do this. Love getting to bring Marvel perspective and news and everything for the people who make it to the Phase Zero listeners. So thank you, Jenna, for waking up to do this with us. Thanks for Richard for working on today's show. And that's my spiel. Play our show for your mom, play it for your dog. Over 1,000 people watching live. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and we will see you on Wednesday for our regularly scheduled MCU news show. See you there.